Hello and welcome to Shoreline Music Monthly. My name is Mark Koshwitz, and I hope you were able to catch last month's show, our anniversary episode. I think the echoes of the tubas are still rolling in this little station. I'd like to thank once again Gary Buttery and Jeremy Taylor for coming down and filling this whole place full of amazing sound. It was fantastic, and the folks from J. Martin's coming down. We had a blast running through that again. So I guess this sort of would be the start of season 2, maybe. So I'm going to start it off with a gentleman from just up the road a piece. Another person who actually I believe I saw perform the first time at an open mic. George Danial. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on. And I'm pretty certain, I think that the first time I ever met you, I think it was at the Highliner open mic that actually our camera person, Wendy Ingram, runs.
That could be, yeah, sure. I couldn't say for sure because we've probably run into each other at the barn at the Old Orchard Farm.
We have indeed.
So it's hard to say, but that's probably the best guess. The great open mic on Thursday nights at the Highliner in Westbrook.
All right. So now, from a songwriting perspective, do you try out a lot of your stuff at open mics? I mean, do you attend them a lot, or you seem quite busy? I'm not sure you still have time for that.
Yeah, that's a great. Wow, that's an interesting observation because I like to say that I don't want to be busy. And starting about 10 years ago, I'll probably go refer back to this like numerous times in this conversation. But there was a shift in terms of what I was striving for in my life, and one of them was not being busy. That's for sure. But life is full, and it's full in a really satisfying way, and music is a big part of that.
Good to hear.
Yeah. And as far as songwriting goes, I know we were talking about how you wanted to introduce me. And, I have a project. We're going to play songs tonight from an artistic project that I called Earnest Song. And so I've played around with, calling myself Earnest Song from time to time. And then it became Michael Earnest Song.
Now you're the artist formerly known as Earnest Song.
Yeah, that would be a good way to put it, although I don't know if I'll ever go there. But the interesting thing is that I use Facebook a lot, and I decided that Facebook was a great consciousness raiser, a great way to share what I felt was important, and to just do it in an unfettered way. And but in the process of doing that, and some of my views, you might consider what I call radically liberal. So I was in the process of applying for some jobs, so I removed my last name from Facebook, and actually Michael George Danial is my first name, my middle name, and a confirmation name. And the reason why that came up for me was, quite literally, I spent some time thinking about how can I get more in touch with whatever guiding spirits might be available to me. And it was a curiosity. I never really felt a keen presence of those kinds of entities, but I asked myself that question: how might I engage with whatever energy or information was available on that sort of spiritual level? And the answer that came to me was, well, a good place to start is your name, because there's sort of archetypes that are embodied in names. And so I started thinking about my birth name of Michael, and the archangel, and George, the slayer of the dragon, and Daniel, who was a prophet. And I just allowed those particular energies to sort of inform what I do in terms of my busyness or my not being busy.
Very nice.
Yeah. So that's where we're at now, and I'm actually about to kick off a little travel, a little tour.
Well, I'd like to just back up for just one moment, because you mentioned we're going to play some songs tonight.
That's right.
I noticed that you brought somebody along with you.
I have
to help out.
A fantastic accompanist and partner, harmonica player, Chris Lennox, also known as Otto Key. He's recorded a CD under the name Otto Key. And it's a great musical effort. And
talented player too.
Yeah,
and
so he's
wonderful singer too.
He's with us, and he's been a great support in terms of learning my songs, the songs that we're going to present tonight, playing harmonica and singing harmonies. Yeah. So this song is called Underground, and not surprisingly, it's a pretty obvious reference to our subconscious material. To the underground to see really what was the deal. Said it was nothing that I thought, said only could feel. What I saw there, shocked and dismayed. A counterpoint, to say the least, where the other half of life was arrayed. In the underground, well, I learned so much. I stood from the wheelchair, I picked up a crutch. Well, I threw that crutch across the room, heard a distant and a thunderous boom. Well, I went to the underground to find a life that was gentle and kind. What I found there took me in, swallowed me whole and erupted again. Over and over and over and I fell a great distance before I could bend. For the underground, as sharp as a knife, the leading edge of a waking life. Underground, it begins to clear the clouds of doubt and the ring of fear. The heart explodes with desire. Climb the ladder just a little higher. In the underground, well, I learned so much. I stood from the wheelchair, I picked up a crutch. Well, I threw that crutch across the room, heard a distant and a thunderous boom. Over and over and over and I fell a great distance before I could mend. The underground, as sharp as a knife, the leading edge of a waking life. To the underground to see really what was the deal. What was the attraction and what was the appeal? What makes it all seem so flippin' real? In the underground, it's all there. The pros, the cons, the fox and the bear, the lynx, the panther, the snowshoe hare. I've been there, yeah, I've been there. I've been there.
The end of this month, you're heading off.
Yeah. Interestingly, this whole journey of the last 10 years or so of pulling away from the whole 9 to 5 mentality, there was sort of an awakening that happened for me that had to do with recognizing that I had been striving for things that really I hadn't chosen for myself. They were things that I was taught that I was supposed to do. And some of them didn't really work. And one of them is kind of like giving away, the majority of your life to this economic system. And I happen to be somebody who's involved in this whole realm of sustainability and really the activism that's emerging now in the world today around social justice, because it's very much linked in with the other issues of sustainability in terms of the environment and climate, and even the economy itself. And to be able to look at the economic system and say, well, a big part of the problem is this system itself, the way it's designed and the way we've gotten used to it, and we no longer are able to even question it, because it's like the air. It's the air we breathe. But in fact, to give my life away to be successful inside of a system that is in reality, hugely destructive to the living planet, just stopped making sense completely.
It's nice to make your own choices.
It's empowering. Yeah, it changes everything.
And as far as your songwriting, do you think that this informs your songwriting? Is that?
Yeah, I would say totally. I mean, the project that I'm going to pull from tonight, the earnest song, the album is called Petrified, If Not For You. And even the title is meant to reflect, and there's a little bit of a blurb in the CD, meant to reflect the way we've all kind of pulled back from feeling what we need to feel. Because of the way things are going, there are feelings that aren't all that welcome as a result. There's I'm a student of Joanna Macy, who has created a body of work called The Work That Reconnects, and it's really a perspective of deep ecology, and it says it's normal for us to feel pain and anguish and grief over what's happening to the living planet. Okay, so the next song is the title track of the CD, Petrified, except it's not called Petrified, it's called, another obvious allegory, Wood Turned to Stone.
Wood turned to stone, get it? Petrified.
If not for you, I'd live alone. Hardwood turned to stone. In this universe of space, I'd lose the race. Fold the tin and pack it in. Cushion of feelings is much too thin. If not for us, I'd ride and run. Life would be a silly pun. Always asking way too much. We cry and fuss. Fold the clothes, put them away. There's nothing more to say. That's not the case, it's just not true. Mother Ocean Blue. I surrender, I give up. To move through you. This is primal flow. It rises from below. We're not meant for a catatonic state. It's a waypoint. There's much further to go. To heal our hearts made of stone. Would turn to stone if not for you, Mother Ocean Blue. I I surrender, I give up to move through you. As if it never was. Chicken down or kitten fuzz. Burn the fires of passion bright through the soulful night. The birth of light beheld a sign. We'll all be fine, we'll all be fine. Don't send out, but look within. Stony hearts grown so thin. I surrender, I give up to live and swim again. If not for you, it would all break down. Don't show your face around the town. But love is funny, volcanoes flow, is a force of fire. Molten rock does not tire. Would turn to stone if not for you, Mother Ocean Blue. Would turn to stone if not for you, Mother Ocean Blue. Would turn to stone if not for you, Mother Ocean Blue. I surrender, I give up to move through you. I surrender, I give up. Surrender, I give up. So the song "Cheerful," the refrain in it is "Tough Love," and the funny thing is, it's kind of a facetious song. It's kind of sarcastic in a way, because I'm really a proponent of tough love. And ironically, I've become a fan of irony, because all these things I'm talking about, really at the heart of it, it's about seeing that the way things appear are not the way they really are. But I've also identified sarcasm as something that I'm really not drawn to use. It's kind of a harsh kind of humor, and it's usually demeaning to the person receiving it. Nonetheless,
occasionally my go-to, though.
Yeah, well, you find yourself drawn to it all the time, exactly, yeah, as the song suggests. So "Cheerful" is a rich song. It offers some perspective on that, on tough love, a little commentary on the issue of climate change and the denial of climate change, And then a little bit about just our education system too, and what a sort of what a shame it is that what we've been conditioned to do is put our kids into daycare or put our kids into school and then go off and spend all day at work and really give away not only our own life but our life with our children. And so I speak to that a little bit in the song as well.
Let's be cheerful, there's no need to get snippy with me. Better get happy, better smile wide, better get happy or I'll tan your hide. Tough love,
Tough love,
tough love,
tough love,
that's what my mom used to say. Tough love,
tough love,
tough love,
tough love.
no dinner and off to bed. We're not in Fargo, it's much too warm outside. Turn your head and look the other way, everything's fine, the conservatives say. Tough love,
Tough love,
tough love,
tough love,
this society is refined. Tough love,
tough love,
tough love,
love.
keep all those feelings well confined. Off to school in a big yellow bus, spend your days with Sarah and Gus. Keep you busy while Pop's at work, hopefully some of you don't go berserk. Tough love, tough love,
tough love,
that's what my mom used to say. Tough love,
tough love,
tough love, no dinner and off to bed. Off to school in a big yellow bus, spend your days with Sarah and Gus. Keep you busy while Pop's at work, hopefully some of you don't go berserk. Tough love,
tough love,
tough love,
tough love,
this society is refined. Tough love, tough love,
tough love.
keep all those feelings well confined. Let's be cheerful, there's no need to get snippy with me. I've known it all along, it's the essence of you and me. Tough love, tough love, off to dinner. Tough love, tough love, off to bed.
Okay, so you had mentioned a trip earlier, and then we seem to have gone off the rails and on a tangent in a different direction.
I can't imagine how that could happen.
I don't know. So you want to maybe give us all a little bit more about what that's going to be?
Yeah, I'd love to, because it brings things up to date. It's where I'm at today after going through this process and this deep thinking and trying to reveal what is important to me and moving from job to job, trying different jobs. And recently I've begun working a seasonal job. And that started to make sense to me because I have a desire to do some traveling. And so I'm able to, and I set the intention to travel during the worst winter months in Connecticut. So my intention was
So
that
you might be heading somewhere warm?
I'm going to head south, absolutely. And I really see this as the pilot program for the coming years. I don't know where I'll be next year or the year after, but the idea is I have to work, in order to get by. So can I do it in 9 months and then have 3 months to travel? And one of the things that I've thought to do to perhaps be able to be in a position to receive gifts from people, gifts of accommodations or gifts of meals, is to offer a gift myself. And so I've put together a little talk about some of these things that we just touched on just very briefly in terms of sustainability, in terms of the deeper framework of beliefs and the systemic patterns that are producing some of the symptoms that we're all becoming sensitized to in the world, and in terms of especially our American culture. And I'm basically just going to offer this talk as a gift to yoga centers and wellness centers and natural food places, as a way to connect with other people that are thinking about the same things and want to share their experience and are willing to listen to the truth that I have to deliver as well. So the journey is, I'm going to be driving around with my dog. We're going to make our way south, but we're going to stop frequently. Maybe experience some different places in the country. And right now it's just the southeast. Asheville seems like it'd be interesting. Savannah, Georgia. Maybe St. Augustine, Florida.
I believe Asheville is where the Moog theremins are made. So
what is that?
you have to watch episode 2.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll play that a rerun after this show. Yeah. Yeah, Asheville's a cool place. There's a lot of progressivism there, and that's one of the reasons I want to go there and just connect with folks. And
sounds great. I wish you well in that. It should be a spectacular adventure.
I hope so. If depending on my ability to withstand some discomforts and how long the money.
And you'll still be a presence online, still.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. In
well,
fact,
I'll keep track of where you're at.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why. Again, my Facebook name is Michael George Danial, and I have put together a website called ecoshaman.org, and because some of these things really go back to a shamanic and an indigenous perspective on life, and so there's news about the journey on that website.
Nice. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for coming down.
You're welcome. I'm really pleased to be here.
I'd rather swim with the dolphins than dance with the terrorists. I don't care if they tell me I've got to build walls. Well, I'm jumping in the water. I'm gonna take that plunge of faith. There's nothing left to do, nothing to stop me. If they try to tell me to fight till the finish, what about the Russians, Swedes, and Jews? 'Cause we're all in the same tribe, that's always been true. We're all in this together.